Hey everyone, it's Dan, and today I'm going to show you how to build the District 9 rifle. It's no secret that I am a massive fan of District 9. The movie came out in 2009 and it has stood the test of time. It's a beautiful piece of work. Practical effects are really what inspire me. I remember watching the movie and I loved it. So of course I had to build something from the movie. I think this was the longest piece. In total, on 3 printers, I knocked this out in about, I think it was like a day and a half. It's pretty simple to assemble. The issue is that there's no alignment pins with this. I'm going to use 3D gloop, which I've used one time before. Respirator.
And I'm going to use a fan. Wow, I had one chance at doing that. I'm very impressed. One part left. I don't know the best way to do this. Soldering iron, seam. 3D pen.
This has to fit in here. This is kind of flared out. So I'm thinking about just heating this up with a heat gun and just kind of morphing it out a little bit. I don't know, let's see how it works. Yes, it's a corded power tool. Oh yeah, like a glove. Yeah, no, it just needs a little bit of sanding to even it out, but...
This stuff is really soft. So I'm starting with 60. That's all it took. Like 10 seconds. And she's smooth. I'm gonna do it to the rest of the gun.
There's a tropical storm going on right now as I'm trying to film the video.
Alright, let's get back to it. We're sanding. It's a little rainy.
Yes. Crowbars.
Alrighty, it's a new day.
Printed this guy at 105%. Pretty beautiful overhangs because I hate supports. Essentially, I heated that up again and now that fits perfect.
These are all the add-ons. I need to sand this down. 80 grit.
I'm gonna start with 120 grit and just do this for hours.
Bondo time!
Okay, so this is filler primer, as you can tell. Basically, I'm gonna start filling in all the seams. So this has all been sanded down to 220 grit. The seams, there might be some little crevices in here and just some areas that need to be filled in. Kind of have a little seam. I'm just gonna kind of just fill it in. Not a lot. You don't want to do too much. And then I smear it out so that it just goes level with the surface. I'm gonna do this to all of the seam areas, so. The Bondo spot filler has now cured and it is time to hand sand. What's great about this build, it's gonna be damaged so it doesn't need to be perfect. That aside, I'm still gonna try to make this look absolutely banging.
220. 220. I got 220 grit sandpaper.
primer filler is dried on here. It's time to sand this down. However, I did want to show, I resin printed all of these, the nozzle, and then I actually had to 3D model these up. I noticed in the 3D model, there was no files for the side pieces, and they actually are super tight fit, so I'm not gonna put these in until I've painted these. They both snap in, kind of just made them look like alien tech. These are ready for paint. I also resin printed the front nozzles, and then I 3D printed all 24 of these. Now these are gonna be a little hard to paint, however, they sit in like that. All right, it's sanding time. 220 grit.
I got 320. I'm just gonna do some touch-ups.
It's paint time, boys. All of these have been 3M'd down. Bottoms don't get seen because they'll be epoxied in. Let's go ahead and coat all of these with black paint. Hello everyone, welcome to my bathroom. We're gonna start wet sanding. Wet sanding paper, we got 220, 400, and 600. These are these boys. Here's the entire rifle. And then all the little pieces. Take the socks off. We'll start off with this. Essentially, quick note, I want to say it's echoey because I'm in the bathroom. I'm using a tub in the bathroom because I don't want my bathtub to get paint all over it, and it keeps everything contained. You can use whatever you want. It's also warmer in here, and I can play my music, and I don't have to be outside. So, yeah. Good clean tears. Alright, 400. I did a lot of sanding on it. It's already pretty smooth. This is it. This is what you do for the next 5 minutes. 600. And that's it. I'm only doing 400 and 600 simply because we're gonna weather this anyways. Not a lot, but that's pretty much all it needs. I'm gonna let this thing dry now. Hi, it's me again. I'm not gonna record all this. Essentially, I'm just doing the exact same thing. All the parts have now dried overnight. They're super smooth and they're ready for their first coat of paint. Typically, I do go over with another coat of black. However, because this is white, I'm just going to use a white base primer for this. I'm essentially just going to be using the black and the white to base coat all the parts that will need it. As you can see, I used 3M tape and mounted all of these to spray paint can lids. It won't fall off, and I can get almost all the angles. All of these guys, the little nubs really suck to paint because it's hard for them to stay up. I'm going to grind it on the belt sander, and you won't see it because it'll be on the edge, and it'll still be able to fit in here.
Respirator and face mask. Put it in, you won't see it. And I'm going to do it to all these.
I've now taped almost everything off. All of the areas that are taped off on here are where the white is going to stay. I'm going to go ahead and paint all the orange parts first on just the main rifle body itself, and then I'll tape that over top, and then I'll go back with the blacks. I'm going to be using the chrome on all of the little ammo kind of nub things. The orange, which I actually just had this laying around, it's a rustic satin orange. I'm going to use that for the orange across the entire gun. And then I'm just going to be using the satin protective enamel black. I'm going to start with doing all the chrome. The rustic orange paint has now dried, and I went ahead and I put new tape over top of the orange that needs to stay. Everything that isn't taped off right now is going to be painted black. I've looked at multiple reference pictures online and they all vary, but I think I'm going to go with the black or dark gray. This also goes for the screw-on fuel canister on the bottom. I did cut these little notches into here so that when I paint it, these notches will be black. However, I am taking my creative freedoms and artistic liberties with this one. There's just a lot of different reference pictures. I'm going to go ahead and start painting with charcoal gray and black. I'm going to be applying the black to the butt of the gun and to the front, and then the handle part, and then this kind of foregrip will also be the charcoal gray. It is time. All the paint has now dried. I did basically the final coats and ready to unmask everything. Pretty good tape, not gonna lie. Heck yeah, there's the main canister. There are going to be bleeding edges of paint here. We're gonna be weathering the crap out of this thing. By no means was I going for an absolute perfect paint job. So if anything bled, we can weather that out. I mean, I tried to tape it off the best that I could, but I didn't, go over all the edges to make sure that it was perfectly pressed down. Without further ado, let's go ahead and take the tape off. It's like Christmas. These are the little resin printed parts, and they should just snap right in. This butt piece will go on here. I need to do some touch-ups on here where the paint peeled and also add some of these little nub areas back. Put some spray paint in this cap to match the color. Paintbrush in the little areas. It's gluing time. Fun, fun, fun. I have super glue and accelerator and 5-minute epoxy. This guy is gonna attach there. These are gonna go about here. This is gonna go on here. Nose canister pieces are gonna be glued on the front, and then this as well will be glued right there. The bottom pieces of this are unpainted, and I'm just gonna scuff up this so that it'll bond directly plastic to plastic instead of having paint over top. Oops. So I just sanded those down. The main parts are now fully glued on and attached. Attaching these is going to be a pain. Because I ground that piece off, they're gonna have to sit perfectly like that. Let's mix up some more epoxy. Shit. Wow, no damage. Nice, now time for them to cure. I'm gonna show you how to add decals like this. Very, very simple to do. All you need is a Cricut. Looking at how this is oriented, you can kind of see them on here. I've already cut them out. This is transfer paper. Now I need to attach this to this. I'm not going to glue it. I'm actually going to use kind of like this riv nut. I'm going to use 5-minute epoxy and glue it in. Now we wait. Hi everyone, it's the next day. All the 5-minute epoxy is dried. Wow, that is sick. This is actually the first time I've held it with the canister on. This thing is pretty sick. This is honestly probably one of my most favorite props I've ever made. Next up, I'm gonna throw a coat of clear coat on this, and this is simply to seal over everything, and then we can start airbrushing and weathering.
Cool. It's time to airbrush.
I'm about to weather this entire gun. I have black and brown oil paints. I have these sponge brushes. As I start to pat this on, I'm also going to be wiping it away. The black oil paint, for instance, will stay in all the crevices. I'm just going for a greasy, grimy effect, so I'm going to go ahead and cover the entire body with it. I'm using a fine point paintbrush to get into all the small areas and fill in all the crevices with the oil paint. This is the brown oil paint, and it makes a nice rust kind of effect. When you brush it on and you wipe it off, you get that kind of like used, kind of distressed metal look. So I'm going to base coat it. If you use the brown on the silver or chrome parts, it makes it look like a nice rusted metal. So I'm going to put it on there and then lightly take it off. I'm going to take the brown paint, and I'm just going to kind of hit it with it, especially the tops. Gotta admit, rub and buff, this is my favorite part of weathering. You don't need a lot. Now using the brush, I'm just going to very, very lightly make this look as if it's the silver metal underneath. As I lightly touch the paint, it's going to leave the silver rub and buff on there to make it look almost as if it's distressed. And I'm essentially going to be doing this around the entire gun. Cool, and that's essentially where we're at. Now I need to just let it dry. And here we are. This is one of my most favorite things I've ever built. I absolutely love it. I honestly, I was actually pretty blown away by how good this looks. Just the size of it, how easy it is to carry. I think I did an amazing job with this, and I can't wait to display it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, let me know. If you have questions, throw them in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. My Instagram is BuildDanielBuild as well. You can see all my other work that I'll post pictures there. You'll see sneak peeks on my Instagram of what videos will be coming out. I try my best to film everything that I build. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.